Good day, my dearest Randy. How are you doing? So, I'm starting by setting the vibe because I had gotten to the bad habit of not doing that before I started my sessions previously. And now I'm like pyromaniac again. So, I actually pulled up your chart before I started this. It was on my post. And she said, "It's my birthday, and it is your birthday." I was just making sure I saw the post at the right time. So, let's get started with this chart because I know what you booked it for, but we can't only get into that. It's your birthday. What number is it? Is it your 33rd? I gotta do math. I am not good at math, so you're about to watch me pull up the calculator. If this is, I'm about to do it in the search bar. Like, if this is 2025, and she was born in 1994, sometimes you gotta break shit down. That remedial 31, I added 2 years on you, girl. Math is not my strong suit. Although I can read these charts in the sky and that, right? We all pick and choose our attributes and skills and setbacks, I think. Or maybe they're just certain negatives that come with the positives that you pick. So it looks like, speaking of that, Madame, and I feel like maybe I should pull up the transits with this. So we're going to do a deep dive into developing sexuality through the observation of your design, right? But I feel like this needs to be like an intimacy, but like intimacy session, because the more you understand yourself, according to this sun at the 19th degree in your 12th house, the more you're able to open up your root. So it appears, because the 12th house is the house of Pisces, right? But it is representative of everything that happened while you were in your mom's stomach, right? So your Mars isn't there. So that's a good start because we can find you a different outlet. But your sense of self, for the most part, besides that moon, so this goes back to your mom. This is a deep rooted mom thing. What happened to her while she was pregnant with you made you a fighter in some way, shape, or form, right? Could have been the beginning of her pregnancy, possibly. I'm going to say that because you have two different signs here on the cusp. But during the time that your body was developed, your mother was very much in her fight or flight mode. She was in survival mode. That is the basis of your emotional or subconscious foundation. So this means, like, if your mom was having a fist fight, dudes, while she was pregnant with you, or any type of fight, it could have been fighting with parents, whatever the case may have been, uh, you felt that anger while you were in the womb. That means some of your first memories pre-birth. And this could have been even if you had been like a child who had difficulties while in the uterus. Like, sometimes they get needles poked in them and different stuff like that. If your mom had preeclampsia, any stuff like that would also be indicators of you having to be a fighter spiritually and outside the womb. Like, you might have even had to fight for the body, but that would have to do, in my opinion, with this 14th degree Yeshua next to it. So you also have, and it's not indicated here, but I remember from another time, you have Yeshua and Lucifer here. It's because they're two sides of the same coin. But you carrying that energy with you means that you are coming into union with self, I'd like to say. And this is backed up, and beautifully, might I add, by your Mars at the 25th degree of self, but it's Pisces, right? So you are dissolving the barriers between your shadow self and your Christ self to accept both parts in tandem. Your Lilith is at the 0 degree. Sometimes for me, Lilith means like your feral, feminine energy. You were just figuring out what that means in freedom as to, opposed to in war. In many other lifetimes, it seems like you had to be in your masculine, even as a female. If you were in a relationship with a guy, you were still the alpha, is what I'm getting here. This is your time to find out what you enjoy as a hedonist in your feminine energy. It's like, what wine do you like? Do you like to dance under the moonlight? What are your favorite foods? And as you follow this energy of freedom and thinking outside the box, or thinking outside of everything that you thought you had to be, as you try more things like this Pilates thing that you didn't know was going to go that way, because that Pilates belongs in Pisces too. It's one of those out of body things, which is why this Venus here was important for you. You had to find out what your own particular modality for feeling safe in your body, because Venus is the sign of physicality, all the earth stuff, the senses, right? You were going to do that through experience because it's at the 9th degree. But before now, the 9th degree is a Sagittarius degree, by the way, right? Before now, your house of Sag has been limited. It was bound by your Saturn. Where's that Saturn? Your Saturn in the 11th house, which means your friends gave you a really hard time, but it was traumatic for you. This happens actually around the age you were 11th. I don't know if you got bullied, because that seems like or it could have been some form of assault. But all of that fed into your belief system being sort of blocked. Now, in regards to what is what I would wonder, people connecting with other people, that's that Aquarius energy, this 23rd degree Neptune. And then the 26th is your value system, right? So a big change in your thoughts about how you felt about people is what would loosen up that Venus a little bit. It's so funny because you have an 11th house stellium, right? Huge. You're supposed to be interacting with people, but they gave you like a 12th house sun, which means you don't want to do that shit at all, right? So your soulmate connects to that 26th degree, right? That means that part of your connection with your spouse, because see, that's at the 23rd degree too. You see how they go together? Not everybody's chart does that. Was supposed to help you get back out the world. Like maybe your spouse takes you to different places and you meet people, and that's how you slowly start to branch out. Even if you were to do something online, maybe possibly your soulmate will be the person that sent you customers. But the original wounding that made you start hiding yourself was limited. It was only up to 30. It was only up to your Saturn return before you had a really big change. I'm trying to place your arrows, which is what's interesting because, right, it's the 18th degree. This is a Virgo degree, right? To be of service. But I'm trying not to think of that in like a courtesan sort of way. But in your most hedonistic sexual nature, which is what you came to discover, by the way. I'm saying that because the 20th degree for rising is a Scorpio degree. That's sexual in nature, right? Your 8th house is in Sagittarius. After that, Capricorn energy. So to explore and find out what you like and then stick to a formula that works for you. From what I've heard from you, you are still working on discovering that. But so much of your energy was bound by Saturn, like your Ceres, which is what you need for nurturing. And what you give to other people is at the 22nd degree. That means it was also bound by your Saturn. You did not receive the care that you necessarily needed. It's like, and this is representative of your first year in life. This all sort of gives me the impression that your mom had postpartum depression, possibly. But it's like you would get your diaper changed, you would get fed, put to sleep, but there was no affection to run over besides the actual basic care that you needed. That's what you sort of develop to give yourself, or how you learn to give yourself just enough. You don't ever overindulge is sort of what this would do to you. But in this life, because that's next to yourself, no, you're supposed to be moving away from that block that you couldn't, had no way of knowing that that was there because it happened as an infant, right? Until you getting more into is really the sexuality, but it's deeper in your own psyche because it's next to Pluto. Learning about psychology, learning about sexuality, the more you learn, the more you are able to apply, is what I'm getting here. And it seems like this might even be a genre that you did not expect yourself entering, but it's recovering from sexual trauma that is not spoken about. And I'm saying that because it's at the 27th degree, which is the Gemini degree. And it's Pluto. It's secrets, it's retrograde, it's held in, but it's something that you really did not discover until you got into a relationship that you really wanted to open up. So that's why your Mars being at the 25th degree of like you being at the final tier of self uh, is a merger. It's like you're gonna have both energies. You're gonna start with like a lighter sexual one, but as you come more into what you enjoy over time, you might find that you're a switch. That's what I'm feeling. You might be in to both. Sometimes you want a daddy, and then sometimes you want a daddy. That's really what this is giving me. Uh, but it's like you're meant to share that in your career, which is like, right? Especially with me putting this reading away privately because of the nature of it. But the Aquarius in the 10th house is you being humanitarian, and this Reiki at the 28th degree is a healer from home. But the 11th house is online, it's the internet. Using the wisdom of Hecate, you're supposed to be sharing what comes through you in your dreams. All you really have to do is speak, is what I'm getting. And that explains the 29th degree. That's a final exam. How are you doing as a messenger? Because look, your logos is right here at the 29th degree too. So in some ways, because it's next to your phallus is a big turning point for you. Your self-expression will go from you being more somebody who questions God and questions the things that you are meant to say, or if you're okay with saying that, or like, who am I to say these things to you? Somebody feeling so confident in what God has done for you in your experience that you are compelled to share your testimony, compelled to share these stories with people because they just need to know what has been going on for you. And that is actually something that is in development at this time as the South Node goes through Virgo. With the South Node in your fifth house, this is your self-expression, this is your sexuality, what you enjoy during sex, this is romantic love. Things are getting healed here. Virgo is the sign of healing. It's the sign of the physical health of your body, your day-to-day routine. So as you are stepping into yourself, you're going to revise everything that you actually thought you knew about you in the first place. You will not be the same person by the end of the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, because it's redoing all the damage that got done during your first 5 years of life. It was the fifth, and then it was the 17th year of your life. That was a reiteration of what happened at you at 5. I feel like that's important to tell you, for you to think about, I'm getting. But it's also important for me to mention that this melancholia, which is like a low forming depression that just lingers in there, it started for you as a baby. And that's actually part of what you're moving away from. You have been carrying depression with you since before your entire first year. This is the first year. Whatever was up with your mom when she first had you affected the way that your mental waves have been working the whole time. So when you see this melancholia at 29th degree, your logos retrograde at the 29th degree, and then your Hecate here, at some point, it looks like your faith in God was fucked up, but it was fucked up twice during childhood. And it didn't even have to be a thought process of, I no longer believe in God, because you've clearly like been believing in source and believing in spirituality, but something occurred that made a turning point, and you're being able to hear it as clearly. Like your hurt became louder than the actual voice. But in turn, because I've shared the Tree of Life design with you, that's when you started hearing from Hecate in the darkness. So my love, you've been in the dark for a very long time. That explains the disconnection, that Capricorn energy that's in your libido. And you are going to be absolutely surprised, amazed, shocked at how high your libido really is once you continue to go through this healing phase. See, Reiki right now is in Scorpio. You're being already, it says next to your husband marker, you're already working on transcendental sexual modalities. tantra, things that take you out of your body, giving him time to allow you to feel in your body. You're not at first going to be into like hardcore, just grabbing passionate sex. No, this is making sure the sheets are a certain texture, the room smells a certain way. There are candles, there's food, there are aphrodisiacs. You really have to get into the mood to loosen up and protect your body. Or I'm sorry, to loosen up and release the protections you have on your body because you have been carrying them for a very, very long time. This is a step-by-step process. Sometimes you're going to trip and fall and have to try it again. Sometimes you're going to do it and you're going to be triggered while you're doing it, just from the emotions that come up, because you are releasing all of the feelings that have been stuck in your womb and your root chakra. Since natally, your root chakra was triggered or was developed in utero. Like everybody's thing is different based upon, their houses and stuff. But your womb, your stuff is like, you need to do a rebirthing. Is there a rebirthing meditation? I'm about to look it up on YouTube right quick. Rebirthing meditation. Or just some like in utero sounds. Resolve birthing trauma with meditation. Like, yeah, I might do that too. My shit was sort of fucked up. I was really surprised to see, but then this whole time, I'm not gonna be like a liar. Every time I thought about my mom raising me and like the mom I had when I was 15 or 11, 12, and just all the time that I had in my life, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the person that was in charge of me this whole time. And it never occurred to me, because in my mind, I was always like, okay, she at least would have took care of baby me. But if that version that I had at 5 and 7 was the one that I had when I was 1, why did I think that that was the improvement? So there is a sacred womb healing, uterus regeneration. That's not exactly what we need, but that might be something that appeals to you. I'm under in utero frequencies, and you might be able to give me a better word. There we go. In womb heartbeat sound bath, back in the womb. And that's by the Healing Vibrations channel. Back in the Womb is what it's called. Do I need to show you that right quick? Just so you know what it looks like here. So for you, I would do this for a few weeks. It's an hour long. You can do it while you're asleep. You can do it as a form of meditation. But you need to start with the reprogramming of you feeling comfortable in the womb again, you feeling at peace, because this is root chakra work for you. I was so happy when you said you started doing things that were very womb opening and very much getting you into the body, so your libido was starting to come back. So now we're going to handle the psychological part. So what does Randy's root? Randy's root. And I just really get like, you need the Rico Suave seduction for those walls to come down. Like, there's no way around it. Like, you need candles and dinner and to be pulled or pushed just energetically beyond your control into your feminine energy. I think that's why a lot of the stuff, the masculine stuff, is done, like opening the door and paying for stuff, because you automatically, everything's out of your control. Control is like the masculine thing, right? You come into your flow, you come into your softness when you feel most guarded. So your root wants you to know, I hope I'll see you again sometime. Girl, you're an undercover freak, girl. You might have had a feeling in there, but like you weren't sure. I guess. So your body is very much looking forward to reconnecting or connecting with somebody in that way, right? I bury myself in work to forget you, and I need to focus on my healing. I think that says it like very loudly. I wanted to think of your root as a personified thing. Maybe that Saturn energy in the 8th house makes you look at work as a way to relieve that sexual energy. So how hard of a worker are you? Because I keep getting that you have a sex job that's going to kick in. That's at a high volume because you have it at the 26th degree. That's a Taurus degree. That's steady. That's lush. That's like, honey, you look so good tonight. Just come here. And it's randomly. Y'all just never know when it's going to happen. But that's where the block has been. So your womb wants to talk to you. Crazy, right? I was still shuffling. But it says, I'm waiting for an apology. I want to tell you how I feel. What I pictured was you sitting with your hands on your womb, like listening to its tales. But it doesn't even have to be that you hear. It's allowing the feelings that come from your womb to come up. Remember, these are pains of fear, guilt, instability, nervousness, shame, all that stuff that has been building up from your childhood. So, like, this is something you're going to require some somatic exercises for. Getting into your body in order to do an exercise or something that releases the pain that you have been holding the whole time. This is like every time that you cried and you weren't held, every time you didn't get attention when you needed it, anytime you felt unsafe, right? And that's actually in the lining of your uterine wall. So if you ever realize that you have issues with your womanly parts, that's why. It's because the energy is backed up in there. So as you get into Tantra, and I'm going to recommend the Learning Cosmic Sexuality franchise. I don't know if I already did that. But as you get into these tantric breathing practices, those that are much more Taurus with your partner, you'll find that the warrior dissolves and the more Venus energy starts to come out. You are an aesthetic lover. You like to explore and do different things, but things that are in relation to a higher love or that will take you higher in your spirituality. Does not feel like you're going to be just doing it just to do it, just like, but it's going to be to show love, to feel love, to experience love, and in some way, eventually, to reconnect the source or to feel your connection at the highest level with source through your partner. So, I used this deck on YouTube the other day and they took down my video, my very first video ever being removed. But that's why I'm going to deliver this via Dropbox. So I'm going to ask, what is it that you're craving in the bedroom? To give you something to try, just a little exercise here. So what does Randy really want or desire to try in order to open herself up a little bit in sexual arena? Back to the womb and the rebirthing are going to do wonders for you. So, didn't I say be of service? Because I saw what is this? Your Lilith next to the 3rd degree, Venus at the 9th degree, Eros at the 18th degree was it. You are, as strange as it might sound, because we don't geek shame around here, right? Like the idea of being told, like, I don't want to say praise kink, although it is connected to that in some way, shape, or form, like good, positive reinforcement. But knowing that you're pleasing a partner, you would not do very good with one who is not vocally or in some way audibly vocal about their pleasure, physically showing their pleasure. But you want to hear that you're doing a good job. You want to know exactly what to do. It's a teacher-student type dynamic that goes on here, like learning from scratch. What I'm getting is, and look, another card with the exact same like position. And another time we'll discuss the fact that there are other females in there, but that might be a side of you ain't explored yet, and you might not be interested in exploring in this life. I mean, I only know you from this job. You might already be into threesomes or the poly lifestyle one day. I don't know. That's on the table. That got something to do with Virgo too, because Virgo is 2. People who have Virgo sexual energy, sometimes they feel like they need multiple, but that's a whole. I'm just really tripped out that it's like this position for both, right? But that's one side. The other side of me, which I believe is that Venus. Look how all of these are laid up the same way. Now I can't make this shit up. All these are laid up the same way, right? The other one under that. So when I said you were a verse, that's it. Sometimes you want this. You need to be by the fireplace. You need the scented candles. You need to be massaged before you get into it. You need great food and to go through it slowly and to be able to feel deeply connected before you begin. This is like you sitting in his lap, holding hands, but you are making eye contact and then you sync your breath together. Like y'all are gonna start breathing together until y'all are in tandem while keeping eye contact. And this is gonna bring up a lot of emotions, but it's like you guys are pairing, you are syncing, and that sort of retinal scan allows your body to start opening up. And in this moment, I just got another asteroid. I'm gonna play around in the background to add to show to you. Before I explain that the other one feels like there are parts of you that fear your experience or lack of experience, or if you make your partner happy in some way, shape, or form, I believe that's where this is coming from. Like you feel very secure, possibly, or you'll feel more secure or more open on the bottom, going the lovey-dovey way. But when it comes to you taking what you want or being in the in the strong dominant position, which is that cap side of your eighth house, right? It feels like there's a little bit of nervousness there. Like, do I put this here? Like, that's the energy here. But that'll give you this cute duality between like unexperienced and then once you get experienced, it's like, wow, look, I just mapped him out. So when I was picturing the mapping or going over what it is in my head, is when you each take a turn and it can be doing completely different scenarios or scenes. Like one day it might be your turn to be mapped, and then one day it's his turn to be mapped. But what you're going to do is you are going to have one partner lay down, right? And the other one is going to explore them with different, I'm about to say modalities, but I don't think that's the correct word. Feather, ice cube, strawberry, fingers, mouth. But that's going to start from here, like all over. You are mapping your partner's pleasure points or sensitive areas, and they can be anywhere. Wherever you get a reaction, you are learning every point of your partner's body, rooted to the tutor, top to the bottom, flip them over, baby. You're doing all of that. But when you get to the member, like this, in those areas that we know are, and save those for last, expressively erotic, then you are going to go over that area slowly. Like you want to know if the head is more sensitive than the base. Like, does he like it under the balls? Like you were just going over each area and making a mental note based upon the reaction you get. If you can even throw in vocabulary as you're doing this, like, hey, hot, cold, like let me know if this works for you. If you that's a spot you want me to know, come up with a word for that. Like if he hits a spot that really makes him go like that sword, right? He needs to say pineapples or something. Bottoms up, like something needs to be said when you're hitting a sensitive spot, just so you can map out in the future how you want to play it like an instrument. You're learning each other's bodies like instruments so that you can unlock it, because what I was looking for here was this asteroid called Love Lock, right? It's literally where your love is locked. And just my luck, I was moving the cards, but then these two stood out. Your love lock. So both of y'all are mirroring. Notice how it's the girl over here turning away from romance and it's the guy trying to give it. And then over here, we got them back to back because he feels like he's been rejected over here, right? That's why I think this is going to go both ways. There has been some wounding from rejection and from not being able to open up. You know, it was nothing personal, but it still does have personal effects on your partner. Your love lock is at the first degree of self in the sign of Libra in relationships. You have not actually yet shared yourself fully with anyone. Let me hit the transits on that again. But, and of course, as we're having this conversation, your love lock was recently triggered for you to start finally putting down that shield that has been up since before you could even breathe oxygen, girl. So I was looking for any other deck I needed to check for this, but no, ma'am. You have plenty of assignments. Start with the in utero frequency. If you could journal during that as a form of channeling, like your baby self, imagine how much that would do for you. You are healing the blocks in your root chakra through energetic healing done with frequencies and meditation. Imagine what you can do with that in your career if you can help women who had issues like with their uteruses or with their sexual drive and abilities because they have blockages they didn't even know about. Imagine you being able to show them how to heal that through sacred sexuality because you have your Venus at the 9th degree, a Sagittarius degree. Sagittarius rules your 8th house in the 12th house of bed pleasures, sexual fantasies, and desires. I do believe your career and your life is going in a direction that was not quite what you expected. You didn't know that was in there, but you will understand why when you get there. That's the fun of the journey, huh? Go ahead, sex coach. Have a great day, ma'am.